In some of his writings, Shaun Gallagher talks about body image and body schema, which I think is a really useful distinction to make, and I'm trying to flesh out that distinction for myself in order to better understand it. And the way I'm kind of interpreting it is that body image is the understanding one has of oneself as if from the outside. So for example, if I was asked to do a self-portrait and I drew kind of image, chances are I would draw that as if looking through someone else's eyes, either at a distance of about 3 feet, in which case I'd just draw my face and my head, or at a greater remove at about 15 feet, in which case I'd probably draw my whole body. And that may or may not be accurate. It may represent me as fatter than I am, or thinner than I am, or more crooked than I am. But however, whether it's an accurate body image or an inaccurate body image, the key aspect of it is it's as if from the outside. It's a kind of an imagined third-person perspective on what one's body, how one's body is functioning. And although it's particularly in the example I've just given, it's likely to be predominantly a visual image, the way one looks. That's not exclusively the case. I think it's certainly possible to have a body image which incorporates auditory features. So you might have a particular way you imagine yourself sounding, and I think that's behind that common experience that we have when we listen to ourselves on tape. And when I first started making these videos and listening to myself, what I sounded like, I was quite surprised, because that wasn't the image that I have of my voice. So it might have auditory components. Train going past, I'm going to have to be quiet for a minute. Okay, I'll just try and talk over the top of it. So the body image might be predominantly visual, but it might have auditory components. It might also have kinesthetic components. I might have an image of my own body, which imagines it in motion, imagines what kind of thing I do with my hands when I'm gesturing, what kind of angle I hold my head at when I'm walking, those kind of images. And again, that may or may not be accurate. I might even have other kinds of images. I mean, maybe I have an image which incorporates things like, oh God, what else could it be? I can't imagine having an olfactory image of myself, but maybe it's possible. Maybe I have a body image which imagines a particular smell, or a particular taste even. But I'm not convinced by that, but maybe, who knows. So certainly those are, as I see it, an understandings of body image. I hold it mentally, but it's as if from the outside. The contrast from that in Gallagher is the idea of the body schema. And the body schema is also held neurologically. It's a cognitive system, I guess. But it's not held in the way that an image is held. It's held in the way that oh dear, I'm not sure I can get this distinction actually. A body schema is a kind of seen from the operator's viewpoint. And I'm assuming it has a literal neural correlates in that strange kind of homunculus. I think it's called the Penrose homunculus, which is the kind of map of the body's sensory motor systems, which is held in the brain. So the body schema is how the body feels and operates from the inside. So in visual terms, and I don't think body schemas are often talked about in visual terms, but to the extent that they have a visual component, it's a bit like that kind of headless image that Douglas Harding talks about, because I can't see my own head, so the visual component of my own head does not fit into my body schema. I can only imagine what my head looks like. I can't literally access it directly. So it features within body image, because I've seen my head in mirrors and I've seen other people's heads, but it doesn't feature within my visual aspects of my schema, apart from the orbits of the eyes and the shadow on the side of the nose and so on. And the visual parts of my body that I can access, my arms and my legs as I look down, are not arrayed in a completely conventional way, probably. Certainly as I look down towards my feet, let's see if I can catch this on camera. As I look down towards my feet, for example, there's a perspectival narrowing towards my toes, which is quite odd, which clearly does not feature in terms of body image, but in terms of a visual component to a body schema. My body is oddly tadpole shaped and narrows to something approaching a point. And again, I think that features in Douglas Harding's rather odd phenomenology. But certainly other parts of the body schema that I can access much more directly is particularly the felt sense, which I've talked about in relation to Eugene Gendlin, which is this sense of where my arms and legs are in space, where my points of balance are, the kind of angles that I'm holding my head at, all that kind of proprioceptive information that's coming through. And also information to do with the kinesthetics as I'm walking, as I'm moving my arms around. That's part of the moment-to-moment schema, modifications of the schema or the use of the schema, which is happening on a moment-to-moment basis. So the schema is first person and the image is third person. The body schema is the body as seen from the inside. It's the kind of source of the body, if you like, connected intimately to the sensory motor system. The body image is seen from the outside. It has that third person perspective, not connected to the sensory motor system other than the kind of imagined sensory motor systems of other individuals, what you would look like, what you move like, how you imagine yourself sounding from a distance of a number of feet away. And as I said, within the image there's no necessary, well, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong in a sense. I mean, you might have an accurate body image, you might have an inaccurate body image. The key feature of that is it's detached. In a sense, you can't really have an inaccurate body schema. You can have an inefficient one, or you can have an inoperative one if you have a particular form of paralysis, I guess. But you can't have an incorrect one. I think I'm going with that. I think where I'd be going with this, I'm not going to do it in this tape because I haven't really thought enough about it, but I think where I'd be going with this is to think about the use of the body schema in some kind of training regimes where you might optimize performance in particular activities via mobilization of the schema, by kind of putting oneself in the driving seat of that schema or something.